Okay, so it seems like we have a little bit of an update to the whole ChaChaYourVMom situation, which again has been pretty crazy, and it seems like we finally have a response to exactly what is going on. And yeah, it's a pretty interesting one because if you don't know, recently Chacha has been in a little bit of controversy over a joke she made about Filian's hiatus, saying essentially that she was taken by ICE and sent to the Philippines as a joke. You know, obviously she hasn't. But yeah, Filian has been away on a hiatus recently. Again, people you know, solving her ARG and stuff, which is really, really cool to see. And yeah, a lot of her friends and stuff have been making up funny jokes about why she's been away and where she's been. And one of the ones that Chacha did was saying that, yeah, she was taken by ICE and sent to the Philippines, which again, I thought was, you know, pretty funny, and some people thought it was pretty funny, but a lot of people did not like that, and it got a lot of, I guess, attention and a lot of, yeah, backlash, essentially, to the point where a lot of people aren't following, and there's been a ton of other offshoot situations that have kind of been going on, which, again, we've made previous videos on about, if you guys want to go watch that in more detail. But it seems that Chacha has actually responded to everything that is going on at the moment, which I thought was very, very interesting, and again, I think it is actually a pretty good response, and it is pretty interesting to look at. This comes from Able Clips, by the way, the person who made the original clip of the ICE knocking down the door one, which Chacha then reposted. Again, go follow them. Definitely recommend checking them out. And yeah, this is yeah, her talk about her recent cancellation.
Hi, Chacha, our blue eyes white Latina streamer. What the frick you mean by that? Hi, Alana. What you guys do? I like your model. Thank you, Austin. You're cute. We talked about your Twitter cancellation. Okay. I knew I had to talk about it at some point. I guess we'll talk about it a little bit. Just a little bit. Emerald, my mods are like, what are you doing, Chacha? What are you doing? Ignore the haters. Okay. First and foremost, I'm not making an apology to Twitter. If that's why you're here and you're wondering, why has Chacha not made a statement on Twitter? Why do I need to make a statement? For what? People are like, oh, your Twitter drama, Chacha. What drama? Who's the drama between? No one. Like, honestly, I'm gonna be so real. There is drama going on, but it's not me. In the Twitter comment sections, you've got some people who are very passionate about what is going on, and that's totally fine. You know, those things are happening, you know, in the real world, totally fine. What's crazy is the people that are like, you have all these, you know, supporters, you know, that are supporting you and everything, but they're like a bunch of like incels and whatever. I'm like, people on Twitter are going to do what they're going to do. People are,
which is 100% true. I think she's bang on with that. You know, she doesn't need to apologize to anybody because there's no person to apologize to, right? Sure, if it was like between two vtubers or whatever, yeah, sure, obviously that would then become a you know, thing maybe that you'd have to apologize about because it could affect future relationships, etc., etc. But this is like apologizing to Twitter. Like, nobody cares, right? Like, Twitter is going to do what Twitter does. If she apologized, it probably would have made the situation even worse because Twitter is Twitter, as she says, and they will continue to you know, harass her, continue to go after her, and continue to essentially, yeah, be unhappy with the joke, regardless of whether she makes an apology or not. So again, there is no point to an apology. And also, if she does believe, you know, what she has done in the joke, and she believes that that's the correct thing to do, then of course, you know, she is going to stick by that, and there's no need to apologize if, you know, there's nothing to apologize for, right? Because she hasn't had anything in particular that she needs to apologize for. So again, I do think it is, yeah, a correct kind of thing.
People are allowed to have opinions. People are allowed to have free speech. If you hate me, just say you hate me. I don't care. I really don't. You can watch anybody you want. You don't have to watch me. You can watch anybody. I'm just a silly anime girl on the internet. Do what you freaking want. Alana showed no one is actually mad. None of your viewers, just the Twitter freaks. Nobody that is mad on Twitter watches my streams.
Exactly. And that is one of the biggest points I made in my last video, was the fact that if you go into Chacha's channel, is it dislike bombed? No. You know, usually whenever you have situations like this, it will get dislike bombed to oblivion because a ton of the viewers will go over there, they'll dislike the video and kind of show that they do not like what is going on. But that didn't happen in this case because, again, nobody on her viewer base actually cared. They enjoyed the joke or they didn't care about the joke, right? And that is probably one of the best ways. And she's built up this community that obviously doesn't care about it too, which I think, you know, is the best way to go forwards. And you can see even with this clip here, with her response to it, it's got 2 dislikes. Well, 2 dislikes on this extension. It's probably a little bit more, maybe like, you know, 3 or 4. But again, it's not like hundreds, right? So again, I think a lot of people just don't care, right?
If you watched my streams, you'd understand my humor.
Also, we talked about the fact there is a lot of V-tweeters too. Sorry, I just need to add it in. There's a lot of V-tweeters who obviously aren't actually fully fledged VTubers. They couldn't make it or whatever. They weren't, you know, dedicated enough to doing that. So now all they do is spend their time kind of, you know, doing whatever they want on Twitter, going after people and trying to call people out or whatever, which obviously, yeah, gets pretty crazy.
And also, okay, I'm gonna be so real. Do you feel like I made a political stance with my joke? Can we be real for like 1 second? It was the most neutral satire on the planet. It was really dry. A bunch of people were like, oh, it's cringe. It's a bit. It's roleplay. And so many people just, they don't watch me anyway because, you know, I do a lot of roleplay stuff. And it's okay if you don't like the roleplay. Do what you, again, you're gonna watch who you wanna watch. It's okay. It's satire. But you know what's powerful about satire is that it addresses issues that are going on in society. I didn't say I was for ICE. I didn't say I was against ICE. I didn't make light of anyone and any tragedy was taken, you know, go.
Exactly. And that is another point that we brought up in the video, right? Is the fact that she never actually expressed whether she liked ICE or disliked ICE, which everybody just assumed it because she made a joke about it. She never even talked about the incident that happened with ICE the other day, which obviously a lot of people were also bringing up. And again, I do think it's pretty crazy that tons of people made those quick assumptions on this post, right? Because again, she never said anything about her political opinions about ICE, you know, and also she was saying like, you know, she got kidnapped by ICE and say stuff like that, right? Which doesn't exactly paint them in a very good light, does it? She made a joke about it, but she never exactly said, oh, yeah, the great people are over at ICE took Filian away in a respectful manner and kicked her out of the country respectfully. No, she never said that. She said they kidnapped her and took her to the Philippines. That doesn't exactly sound, you know, the most... It doesn't sound like she's glazing them at all, but it also doesn't sound like too crazy either, right? So again, it was pretty neutral.
Going up against. But you know what it does do? That whole clip, not everyone keeps up with current events. And what satire allows people to do in the public sphere is it allows them to like go and look and research for themselves. My tweet has almost 4 million impressions. 4 million impressions. That's a lot. And for some people who only get their news from silly VTubers, you know, maybe it inspired people to look up the current events and become informed about the political climate, about what's going on. And it's like, okay, wow, I just got my news from a silly little VTuber woman with cat ears. Crazy. But I mean, it allows you to make your own opinions about what's going on. And I don't think I made light of the situation. I actually had, and I'm not gonna say who, but I had a really high profile VTuber come into my Discord DMs and tell me that she was incredibly disappointed in me, but she doesn't know me or my content. Yeah, so that's okay. I think that my clip, again, it was satire and it made light on, okay, the biggest butt of the joke was Filian. And Filian can handle a joke. Like, Filian and I have a really good relationship that way. And we can joke and you know, do that sort of thing. It's fun. And we enjoy that kind of banter and, you know, riffing off of each other. It's okay if my humor isn't your humor, you know? If Filian didn't have her sense of humor, she wouldn't be a thing. Yeah. No, like... If you like unhinged humor, I love Filian because she'll make really funny one-off jokes. Like, I thought about a joke today, and it reminded me of Filian. Why is reverse cowboy illegal in Alabama? Because you never turn your back on family.
So, yeah, as you can see, you know, she talked about the fact that, hey, Filian can take this joke. Filian isn't going to be affected by this joke. And if, you know, she was affected, then maybe it would have been an issue, right? But it's not an issue because they're friends, you know, they know exactly what is going on. And yeah, it's one of these things where you know, is a joke between friends about a friend, and that's about it, right? And it shouldn't really be taken as far as it was. Now, obviously, she goes on to talk about in this clip about the fact that, you know, she is attributing the backlash to mob mentality and saying that people are being addicted to dogpiling on people, which is 100% true. That is 100% a thing that happens on Twitter quite often, right? In the sense of, you know, people will find a clip like this, they will then tweet about it, that will get popular, someone else will see that got popular, and they're kind of in the same political sphere or whatever they're in. They'll jump on it, and then they'll jump on it, and they'll jump on it, and then all of a sudden it becomes a huge dog pile. And that is something that happens on Twitter all of the time, and that is why we have seen this blow up to the way that it did. But obviously you also have the other kind of people that are kind of counteracting that as well in the replies and saying that apologizing often doesn't satisfy such crowds anyways, which 100% is true, because they will continue to dogpile on you even if you do apologize. If you could make the best apology possible and there would still be people that would go after you, and that is just how it is. That is just how the internet has been for a very long time, and how Twitter has been for a very long time. So again, that is one of the reasons as to why she didn't actually kind of apologize or didn't make any kind of response or whatever. Well, she did make a response, but she didn't make a kind of, an apology or a rebuttal, and she's kept this post up, right? That is one of the big things, right? She hasn't deleted this post because she stands by it. She stands by her joke. And I think that is essentially, you know, one of the good things that has been going on, right? Saying, you know, as well as personal life, she says, as a mother of 4, she emphasizes that she doesn't live on the internet. And while Twitter was feral, she was busy cleaning her house, seeing Avatar of her husband, and going to church. So yeah, she's got better things to do than argue with people over on Twitter, because let's be real, a lot of the people that have been attacking her over on Twitter are losers that essentially do nothing with their life, right? And that is essentially the whole point. That is essentially the whole point, that Chacha is a real person living a real life with a real family with, as she says, 4 kids, right? And she's doing all of this stuff, cleaning up her house or whatever, that she has no time for this stupid, like, I can't believe you'd make a joke about ice, that's so horrible. She has no time for that. She doesn't care. Like, it's Twitter. And I think that does very much emphasize, you know, that she doesn't care about any of this kind of stuff going on. And that, this joke is just a joke at the end of the day. She also says, instead of engaging with the idiots, she actually... she used the massive influx of impressions to instead post more memes and take advantage of the free engagement, which is 100% true. We talked about this in the first video about this, is the fact that, yeah, Chacha has actually been just filling up her entire page with memes, clips, and also other stuff. Some of them slightly hinting at exactly what's going on, and some of them not. And to be fair, she's done, you know, the best thing possible, because I'm pretty sure she's monetized over on Twitter. So the amount of impressions that she's been getting lately, and the amount of people watching her clips and whatever due to this drama going on, has been much higher than usual. So she is instead farming a lot of the impressions and farming a lot of the views that she's been getting from these haters, and they're in turn just giving her more money, which, to be honest, is probably better for her, which I think, you know, is probably the smartest way to go about it. Again, she is very, very smart in the way that she's gone about it, and, you know, kind of talked about this and responded to it, and just essentially carried herself throughout this entire thing, because we've seen a lot of VTubers and stuff in the past that will essentially just blow up. Like, they will literally just implode at the slightest bit of like negativity going towards their way. They'll be like, I'm so sorry, and then they'll get dogpiled on more. They'll be like, no, I'm extra sorry, I'm sorry, like, and then it will get worse and worse and worse and worse, until the point where they just like quit or go on hiatus or something, and then it gets pretty terrible. When what they really need to do is get off of Twitter or ignore it. You know, that is one of the best kind of damage controls for Twitter drama, because let's be real, as I said, nobody cares about Twitter drama. People will forget about this in like a week. Like, let's be real, people will forget about this. Nobody will care. Now, obviously, we've covered big situations in the VTubing space. For example, like the Cinder situation. For example, like the, I don't know, what, the ChaChaYourVMom situation. There's so many other ones, which are big situations that have been covered on extensively. And obviously, that will have more of a lasting effect, because, again, it has affected a lot of people. It is actual, meaningful, I guess, drama or news or whatever you want to call it, right? Because people are going to be affected by this. But whenever it comes to Chacha's situation, it doesn't affect anybody apart from obviously herself and Filian, and both of them are fine with it. So again, it's just going to fizzle out because nobody cares. Nobody is going to drag them over this. Whereas, you know, a situation like the Cinder one, obviously a lot of people were affected. You know, all of the VTubers that were mentioned in the Google Doc from both of them, you know, were pretty crazy. So obviously that is going to continue even further because of the whole mix of fans and also the public perception and all of this kind of stuff as well. Whereas, as I said, the Chacha situation is a Twitter post, right? And it's people getting angry on Twitter, and most of them are VTweeters. Obviously, she mentions the fact that there was a big VTuber that did message them and essentially say that they were disappointed. But again, she says that she's never interacted with them or like her content or whatever. So again, it doesn't really matter, right? And I do think it is a little bit odd, just like someone like messaging them and be like, on the behalf of the VTuber community, I'm very disappointed in you. Like, okay, like whatever, sure. But again, especially when they haven't interacted, like sure, if it was a friend maybe trying to be like, hey, you know, I just don't think this is right or whatever, you know, that's them trying to be a good friend. But this is just like a random VTuber just be like, I'm very disappointed in you. And it's like, okay, like who actually cares? So yeah, I mean, overall, I think it is a good response from Chacha there because again, she just goes into everything about how much, you know, she actually cares about this, which is nil. She doesn't care about it at all. She's been farming a ton of money and a ton of impressions off of this all. And yeah, I mean, that is the best way to really handle this situation. And she's done it pretty well, right? And hopefully she does get that bag from the Twitter monetization soon. And as I said, it just seems like she don't care about this because, again, it is Twitter drama. It is Twitter users that have kind of been going after her. And yeah, it just doesn't really matter, does it? But yeah, that's essentially all there is for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code ChaCha, get 10% off again. They've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.